I'm just gonna jump right into it. Unfortunately, I'm looking at this video and everything that's been said about the Daunte Wright. I call it a murder because looking at this video, I do not believe it was an accident. I don't know that any of you have seen the video. I'm gonna show it in a minute if you have not. But unfortunately, I didn't know all the facts to the case because, you know, you hear on the internet different things. At first I heard it was air freshener that he got stopped for, that he had air freshener in his back window. But it looks like he had either expired tags on his car or no registration on his car, so he got stopped. And then upon stopping his car, it looks like the police found out that he had a warrant out for his arrest for carrying a pistol without a permit, and he didn't show up for court, so he got a gross warrant. He was 20 years old. Daunte was 20 years old. I know at 18 and 20 years old, I did some things and I was probably not very responsible. I remember driving in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan on Square Lake and Telegraph, speeding, and a police pulled me over and I couldn't find my license. Actually, my license was in my wallet and I couldn't find it. But about 5 years later, I went up for a job and they did a background check. And they said, Tina, you have a record. You have a record on your background check for not carrying your license while driving or something. I don't know. I don't even know what the technical term was for what I did because I was young. I was stupid. I could have just called and got it off my record, but I didn't even care about it. I was 18 years old. So that prevented me from getting a job 5 years later for something I really didn't even do. So the fact that he didn't show up for court for a pistol he was carrying that he did not use, he didn't have a permit, doesn't make him a criminal. And it doesn't make him, I don't feel like not showing up to court is death. I don't think death is a sentence for not showing up for court, but I'm not a lawyer, so this is just my opinion. But let's go ahead and look at the video and I'll tell you why I do not think it was an accident. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm about to play it right now. So we're looking at Daunte Wright's video. He's just being arrested, and this is what happens. We'll talk about it afterwards. I'm gonna stop it right there. So she says, I'm a taser. And she's holding the gun in her hand right there. Let me play it again one more time. She continues, she's holding the gun. Taser, taser, taser. And she says, yes. Let me just play that back one more time. Because I don't think that's a mistake. That's not a fucking mistake. I said I was going to drop F-bombs right here, but I did. I'm sorry. Let's watch that one more time. And she says, yes, taser, taser, taser. And then she just said, I just shot him. As if she was shocked that she did it. But she was holding the gun. She could see the gun in front of her. So I do not buy that excuse that she thought it was a taser. And she yelled taser 3 times. Taser, 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 with the gun in her hand in front of her face. That's not an accident. And she says, I just shot him, as if she can't believe her ego got out of control and she actually did what she wanted to do. To me, that is not a mistake. I don't know if any of you agree with me or if you saw this video, but I do not believe having a warrant out for your arrest for carrying a pistol without a permit and not showing up to court, I don't think death is a sentence for that. And he was tragically murdered. I don't think that death is a sentence for not showing up to court. There is no way that this is a mistake. Now, I know he should have not have resisted arrest. That was not great. But he was in the car and she shot him from a distance. He didn't even weigh like 140 pounds. There were how many police officers? 3 police officers there. They couldn't detain him without shooting him to death. There's no way that that's an accident. I don't know if you guys have seen the video, but I just played it back. So you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I just don't think that this 20-year-old deserved to die. And there's all the evidence right there. He even says, I'll play it just from where we left off. The police officer says that they should have not released this video so soon. Why? So they can cover their tracks and think of a better lie?
Unfortunately, the BCA normally isn't present here during these types of conferences. But what I've understood is the releasing a video this early in a situation is not something that they condone. They leave it up to me to do that. And as I decided to do that, they're not part of this conversation. They're not part of this press conference at this time.
Why did you decide to do this?
I felt the community needed to know what happened. They needed to see it. I needed to be transparent. And I want to be forthright. Due respect to Daunte as well.
Wow. There's no respect in this video at all. There's no respect. There was no respect when they shot him, when they had 3 police officers there. They could have detained him in a respectable way. Yes, he resisted arrest, but death is not a penalty for resisting arrest. Death is not a penalty for not showing up to court. He was a 20-year-old man. He was unarmed. So I don't understand how even getting tased was a consequence for this. They were 3 police officers and he was 145 pounds at the most. I don't understand how it got from resisting arrest to death. So, I mean, I just think it's safer for me, and if I potentially have children in the future, I don't think it's safe for me to be in this country because I feel like anything can happen. Anything can happen to my family, and I just pray that we're all protected. I keep praying that this doesn't happen over and over again to our Black young men who, Daunte was a father of a child, a baby boy, and he's no longer gonna be here for his child to see his child grow. He wasn't, he didn't have a long rap of a record, and even if he did, so what? He didn't deserve to die in this way. He was a father. His mother loved him. I also got a comment on my page that I want to address. Someone on my page said that Daunte did not look like he was Black. He looked like he was a Latino young man, and I didn't want to be rude to someone that followed me, but unfortunately, Latino young men and brown young men, Black young men, mixed white and Black men still get discriminated against in this country. If you go back in your history, you'll know that a lot of Black women were raped, and they were also slaves, and their offsprings were also slaves. They were half white, half Black, but guess what? They were still slaves. So in this country, it doesn't matter if you're light-skinned Black, brown, or dark brown, you're still discriminated against. And it's not a point to say that he was half white. Half white gets you nowhere in this country. It gets you maybe in the house. It doesn't get you out of being shot. So, I mean, there's always been some discrimination within a race for someone who is maybe lighter skinned versus someone who's darker skinned. And I don't know that you would understand that, this person that commented on my page, because she doesn't seem to be of Black descent. Some people think that you're more beautiful or more worthy if you're lighter skinned, or you get more privileges, and that's not true. If you're Black in this country, you are seen as a Black man or a Black woman, period. There was another comment on my page that I like to address. He said that Daunte should not have been resisting arrest, which I agreed with. He should not have been resisting arrest. Also, he said, of course, the police officer shouldn't have shot him. Correct. This comment also on my page said that, what did he say? That the police officer who shot him should be arrested, as well as not able to work again in her life as a police officer or something along those lines. And I agree with all of those things. I agree with those things. Still, in all, I do not believe that anything that Daunte did, whether it was resisting arrest, not showing up for court, should result in death. So that is my opinion. That is what I think. When I first heard of this story, it was on Instagram, it was on the internet, it was on social media, and I was just appalled that it happened again. And now that I know the details, I still feel that it's wrong. I still feel it's wrong what happened. You can see in the video that I showed earlier that this was not a mistake. She held the gun in front of her hand and said, "Taser, taser, taser." There was high emotion, there was high ego. And she meant full well what she did. She was just surprised that she actually went through with it. And she's gonna be surprised when she gets thrown in jail, because that excuse is not gonna fly with anyone, because anyone watching that video knows that she was lying through her teeth. I think the police officer has since resigned, and also the police chief that did the police conference also resigned. And I think that the police officer that shot Daunte should be arrested and thrown under the jail. If she was 26-year veteran in the police force, she should know the difference between a taser and a gun. And she had the gun right in front of her face, as you can see in the video. I'm gonna end this here. I'm gonna see how this plays out, but I will be calling whoever I need to call. If I need to call the governor of Minnesota, of Minneapolis, if I need to call whoever I need to call, the police chief, whoever is in charge there, I'm gonna make those calls. Also, in my stories, I have labeled it Murder 2021. I have a post that I posted there and saved. You can swipe up and go to Daunte's GoFundMe. They're raising money for his burial services, but also they need to use that money also for bringing up his child and his family. There's lots of expenses that goes with that. The last I checked, there was about 500,000 almost in donations. But 500,000, what is that gonna last? Like a couple years, like 5 years? Okay, 100,000 a year for a kid to go through school and to be without his dad and to bury someone. That's not really a lot for a long time. Daunte's gonna be gone forever. He's not coming back. So please donate to Daunte's GoFundMe. I would really appreciate it. Also, I'm moving out of the country. Like I said, I cannot be in this country. I cannot stand what's happening here. If you've ever had any experience in France, it also is a racist country. Actually, France is very racist. But the fact is, they don't kill and shoot black people, if not very often. They may be racist, but they don't kill people. So I think they're really far behind the US, and people are at least respectfully racist. There's nowhere I'm gonna go in the world where I'm gonna feel like totally accepted. Even in Africa, they have their hierarchy of people in the country where I think minorities are still repressed. So I do want to move out of the country. You can always give to my Cash App, Real Talk Tina. I'm always accepting Cash App. I'm raising a fund to get out of the US permanently. I am also a licensed realtor in 3 states. I am licensed to sell and help you buy your home. So if you're interested in that, I'm located in Denver right now, but I'm also licensed in North Carolina and South Carolina. I'm also a heartbreak coach. I write books and courses to help women heal after heartbreak. You can swipe up on my links if you'd like to buy my courses or my books. Contact me if you want any of my professional services that I just just mentioned, or you can just cash at me if you just want to help out in my savings fund to move out of the country. I really appreciate you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Bisous.